As, as we celebrate the 20th anniversary of Prizm Ensemble, we reflect on 2 decades of commitment to the transformative power of music. Founded on the principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion, Prizm Ensemble emerged with a mission to engage communities in chamber music while breaking down barriers in the arts. From the very beginning, we recognized that music is a universal language that transcends differences, and our dedication to fostering a diverse artistic community has been at the heart of everything we do. Over the years, Prizm has proudly served over 20 schools in the Mid-South, inspiring the next generation of musicians and music lovers, performed over 100 concerts for live audiences, and our educational programs and interactive performances have connected with countless students, giving them the opportunity to experience and participate in the beauty of chamber music firsthand. By bringing world-class musicians into the classroom and the community, we've made music accessible to all, regardless of background. Prizm Ensemble has made a profound impact on professional musicians, offering a platform for collaboration and innovation. Through our performances and outreach initiatives, we have created meaningful connections with the artistic community and nurtured emerging talents, ensuring that the future of chamber music is as vibrant and diverse as the world we live in. As we celebrate this milestone, we look forward to continuing our journey of enriching lives through music and championing the values of equity and inclusion for many more years to come. Thank you for being a part of the Prizm family.
Let there be light, I think, right? All right, so thank you all so much for being here this evening. This is a very special time in the history of the organization. I cannot be more proud to present a program that truly embraces what the organization has stood for 20 years. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. There you go, yes, give it to it. If you follow the news or are socially aware of anything, you know that those are words that are kind of under attack. And if you think about really the formation of this organization, that was really what helped Prizm to form, you know. A group of people decided that, hey, we can present an ensemble that reflects how Memphis looks. And when you go to the store, when you go to the malls, when you go downtown, you see many different people. And in classical music, that's not always the case. And so, as an organization, as a leader of this organization, I can't be any more proud to continue in the legacy that was started by Lecolion, Washington, and Karina Nyberg. And so that fills my heart, and so it just makes me so happy to see all of your faces here with us this evening as we celebrate and really honor Lecolion, Washington, who's with us, bassoonist. He's somewhere. Lecolion, where'd you go? He was in here. He's over there. Lecolion, he's in here. And you know, to be very honest about my relationship with Lecolion, we met many years ago, working for an organization called Memphis Music Initiative. And at the time, I knew nothing about Prizm. It was because we had to do some out-of-office work off-site here at Shady Grove is how I became known about Prizm. And I was like, wow, you're doing this thing, okay. And so from there, you know, we just had many conversations, and we just really formed a really great relationship because of it. And so Prizm, honestly, if you look at the mission of Prizm, is to build diverse community. That's what Prizm does. It builds diverse community. It brings people together. And I had no idea Lecolion was doing his thing. I didn't know that we had a black bassoonist here in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm an opera singer. I think y'all know that by now. But he's a bassoonist, and so we come together, and you know, the rest is history. But tonight is about Prizm. tonight is not necessarily about just one individual, it's about what this organization represents. And so as I look through this audience tonight and I see familiar faces, I see alumni, I see people who are on the poster up here who are adolescents and now they're fully grown paying taxes. You know, we should be paying taxes, but anyway. But you know, that warms my heart to see, you know, 20 years, what the impact has been. And we could not have done that without great people, such as our co-founders, Lecolion Washington. He's over there. He has his head down, but Lecolion Washington, we could not have done it without him. We could not have done it without Shady Grove Presbyterian Church. At the time, Lecolion was a member here, and this really served as a home basis for the organization. And to be very honest with you, if you own a business or know someone who owns a small business, rent is not cheap. And so in-kind gifts that Shady Grove has provided us over the years has been invaluable to our organization. And so I say thank you so much to Shady Grove Presbyterian, the members here, for your support. We've also had many foundations to support us. Arts Memphis is our champion, y'all. Arts Memphis is our champion. I'm going to call out the president, Elizabeth Rouse. She's going to hate me for it, but we love her. She's in the audience, Elizabeth. She's always supporting us. Arts Memphis is always asking, what do you need, and not telling us what to do. And sometimes foundations will do that. But Arts Memphis is here, and they're supporting us, and so we're so grateful for their support. Hyde Family Foundation as well. We're grateful for their support, for all that they do. Tennessee Arts Commission, also a really great supporter. And we have a host of individual supporters that makes this happen. I tell people all the time, musicians don't go to Kroger and pay with, you know, musician coupons, right? There's no magical coupon. Your total is $83.85. Okay, here's my musician coupon. No, they have to live, and they live by, you know, the art that they create. And so the support that you all give to this organization helps us to do that. And it helps us to support the young people that come into our programs, period. We target people living in underserved communities, and we don't want that to be a barrier. We don't want to ever meet a young child who comes into, you know, our space and says, I really love your program, I love your camp, I love the musicians you bring in, but I can't afford to come. That's not what we do, right? And so, because of your support, we're able to do that, and I'm so proud to continue in, like, as I said earlier, in the legacy that was started by our co-founder, Mr. Lecolion Washington. You're going to hear from him this evening on his bassoon. He will be telling stories as well, because, you know, he was part of the beginning, the origins of it, right? So you'll hear him speak about that as well. But I want you all to enjoy this evening. I want to also say that there will be a reception afterwards. There are refreshments and drinks and champagne for the adults, okay, who want to celebrate 20 years, because, I mean, it's 20 years. Most nonprofits, I kid you not, don't make it to 10, right? And some don't make it to 5. We're 20 years, guys. We're 20 years into it, and we're still doing great work, and so I can't be any more proud to be with you all this evening. I'm going to silence myself now, okay? And I'm going to introduce to you all, some of you know him already, but I'm going to introduce Lecolion Washington.
some of you haven't been to a bassoon concert since the last time you heard me play one. So it is very exciting to see so many of you. I see alums in the audience. Hi, guys. I see so many alums from the Prizm Festival. I see so many members of the Shady Grove Presbyterian family, and I'm going to name it right now. For those of you who have been around Prizm, especially during my years, I will likely burst into tears probably 3 or 4 times tonight because I did it every year at every final speech. And this is like giving multiple final speeches all at the same time. So I will likely burst into tears a few times. You saw it. I'm choking up already a little bit. But I did want to, I started off by playing these 2 pieces. One of them, the Adolphus Hailstork, is a piece by a black composer. It was a very important journey of mine, finding this music by black composers. And the second one was a piece by J.S. Bach. One of the things that was an important part of my journey was finding my own identity through music making. I grew up in a predominantly black and Mexican neighborhood in Texas, so classical music wasn't a thing that I grew up with. I went through this long journey that I won't tell you about right now, but there was a part of me that was viewed some of the ways in which we engage in music training as a tool to get people assimilated into Western classical music and the Western classical tradition. Because I didn't always have chances with the bassoon in my hand to play music that was written by people who looked like me. I wasn't given an opportunity to play music that matched my cultural heritage. And so I thought a lot about that as part of my journey, and I'll share some of that as we go through. But the reason I play them in that order is I start with this piece by a black composer, a person who looks like me, has a very similar cultural heritage to me. And then I end with this music by J.S. Bach, because my belief is that there is this bridge between them, but there's a bridge that goes both ways. So it's not only starting with Bach and then introducing me to Hailstork, but it's actually a universe where I can start with Hailstork and then work my way to Bach and Mozart. And that was in many ways very much the genesis of the evolution of Prizm as an organization. And I want to make these remarks here before I step out. But in the beginning, Prizm was a classical performance ensemble. We were conservatory trained musicians who all happened to be in Memphis at the same time. I was 30 years old at the time. My hairline was about 2 inches farther forward. And this little spot in the back that I'm not going to show you wasn't there. So it was many years ago, and it was just the beginning of my performance career. And when you're in the beginning of your performance career, all you want to do is have chances to play. And so the pieces that we'll go through today are just some pieces that that people just want to play, because that's the beginning of it. But as I share with you later on through this process, it became so much more than just a bunch of musicians who wanted to play. It happens. It's, when you have kids, someone told me when you have children, you just start crying all the time at random things. My kids, my oldest is 20 years old. Yeah, my oldest is 20 years old, and so as I said, I will likely burst into tears, but I'm going to go out and get some of my colleagues, and speaking of my children, the next piece is in some ways an homage to them. Everyone won't get this, but to the Prizm alums, hello, Mr. Shoes.
I'm going to stall for Lecolion. Thank you all. I'm David Spencer. Some of you I recognize. Some of you look older than I remember you. Some of you have more hair, facial hair even. It's an honor to be here tonight for all of us. I know we're all here for Lecolion, but you should know how much we respect this gentleman, and it's a great celebration tonight. So, that said, we're not playing what's on your program. We're skipping a little bit. We are going to play the Elizabethan songs right now, not the K sonata. I guess you'll do that later.
I will.
Yeah. And just a little bit about this. Lecolion actually asked us to come up with some things, right? So I know you thought he chose all this, but actually I chose this piece because he goes, man, we got to play something, but what are we going to do? And I said, well, I'll pick something. And so I thought through it, and I thought, okay, well, maybe we should, I should really delve into try to find a newer piece, by a more diverse composer, because that's what Prizm's all about, and opportunity. And I thought, no, when I knew Lecolion, I have the gift of having known him for the longest, I think, actually. And, I knew Lecolion when he was childless and, wearing tight pants, going out on Saturday night. I don't know about the tight pants, but we'll get to that later. Okay. But anyway, the point is that this piece I thought would be really great because it's actually a collection of songs, 2 songs that we're going to do, that are actually children's songs. And one of the greatest things that we've both experienced in our lives is having children. And on top of that, just all of the children that Lecolion has dedicated his life to here. So these are 2 children's songs, actually, that are arranged by a wonderful American composer, Erica Wazen, for trumpet and bassoon. So hope you enjoy it, and that's the whole thing. Have I stalled enough? Good, okay.
Nailed it.
Thank you.
Mine was tuned at the factory, so I don't need a...
We bow, but we don't tune.
So you got this group of musicians who decide that they want to start this music festival and start this chamber ensemble. We want to just play together, and we spent a few years. We did concerts locally. We did concerts around the country. I mean, it was a thing that we were doing, giving us an opportunity to just play. Around 2006, I started playing in this festival right outside Cape Town, South Africa, right in a city called Stellenbosch. And it was, if you know what's happening in world history at that time, South Africa is a relatively new country then. It's maybe about 10 or 12 years at the end of apartheid. And when I went to this festival, you were starting to see more of this relationship between those who had been oppressed by the apartheid regime and those who had actually had power during the apartheid regime. So you now in this city, you have a black majority. And you have this new dynamic of this black majority starting to have opportunities in this relatively new country. I don't know if maybe I didn't tell everyone, but I'm black. Sorry, I didn't mean to break. I'm sorry to break it to you. No, actually, I'm super proud to break it to everyone. And Memphis is a predominantly black city. So Memphis, during that time, it had a very similar dynamic. You had what most people would consider to be an oppressed black majority. And so I'm looking at this country that has this international music festival with musicians coming from all over the world to come into this country that has an oppressed black majority because they viewed this type of programming as part of that country's future. They believed that having opportunities like this was part of the country's future. And so if it can be part of a country's future, I felt like it could be part of a city's future too. And so that was the beginnings of the first Prizm Festival. The first one was actually in 2009. And it was held at St. Mary's because I had met some folks from St. Mary's and they were like, you want to try something? We don't have a lot of things happening in the summer, so give it a go. And we had this program in 2009. Those of you who were here in 2009, you might remember there was a huge tornado through Memphis in 2009. It hit through Bartlett and other areas of the city. One of the areas that it went around was St. Mary's Church. So our very first festival, our very first program, we're in this church, and a tornado shows up, and we take all the kids and put them in this area where they told us to put them. The alarms go off, and the storm doors come down. So we have this group of around 20 kids who were terrified, except for one. His name was Joseph. I don't remember his last name, but I remember Joseph came up to me, and he said, are we still going to have dinner? Is this going to have any impact on, just quick question, is this going to, and the funny thing about that is those of you who are members of Shady Grove Church, you know Carolyn King. Carolyn King is a member of this church. She does wonderful work around the city, wonderful small businesses with food. Carolyn was making food that night. And so I had to run over and get Carolyn to say, hey, tornado's here. And she was like, Carolyn's response was, my chicken. So she turned off her chicken, and then we all go into this area of St. Mary's, and we survived to live another day. But that experience for the young people in that program, it brought them all together. And the folks who were there that first year, they have become a group, I think, that still talk about that very first year at the Prizm Festival. And that's, as we all know, that's how things are built. It's not built through the programs, it's built through the people, and it's built through the experiences that you share together. And so it was that first festival that made us start to believe that maybe this thing has some legs in this city, and maybe there is some value to this thing that we're doing, because there's something that's happening that I'm not positive we're facilitating. So it's a thing that we should learn to understand. And before I play this next work, the Ulysses K? Before I play the Ulysses K, You know, someone told me once, he said, think of every place you're in like a petri dish. In a petri dish, a culture will always happen. The question is, are you controlling the culture? But if you don't control it, a culture will occur nonetheless. And so this was this moment where, to our benefit, a culture did happen that we didn't create, which meant that whatever the magic was, whatever was in the air, whatever was in the walls, it was the thing that made this thing beautiful. And so that group of 20, that group of young people, they were the ones who showed us that actually there is something here, there's something in the air that we can start to learn more about the culture that we can create and then learn how to recreate it. This next piece I'm going to play, another piece from my recording of music for bassoon by black composers. It's by a man named Ulysses K. I'd like to play the Ulysses K because it's another example of this composer who's a black composer who's actually composing in many ways in a European style. For those of you who know the composer Paul Hindemith, Paul Hindemith was a German composer. Ulysses K was a student of one of Paul Hindemith's black students. And so this music is in the style of this European composer. And one of the things that I continue to try to share in my world is there are ways to bring people into this music in which the artist matters just as much as the art. So for me, playing a work by Ulysses K, this black composer, it matters to me because it's this place where, although he's performing, he's writing in a European style, for me, I feel some connection to this music because for me, he's one of mine. So we're going through the life and times of Prizm Ensemble in the Prizm Festival. So we were trying to find, at this time, we have these performances that we're giving, and we have this, we have this summer program that's starting to thrive, and we were still trying to find our way. We were kind of doing a little bit of everything. That's what happens when you're in the beginning of an organization, beginning of a nonprofit. You don't know what your sweet spot is, so you're just trying a little bit of everything. You're probably doing some things where you're chasing the funding. There's some, you write a grant, it's $2,500, says you can do a thing. It's like, okay, I'll do that thing that's what costs us $10,000 to do to get that $2,500 grant. Yeah, you should laugh at that because that is some level how it ends up happening for a lot of nonprofits. And there was this one night, we had this beautiful program here. I will probably get misty in this one, so I'm just prepping you beforehand. There was this one night, we had this beautiful concert here, and we had worked our tails off. We rehearsed extra. We had students coming in to perform. I mean, we had just worked so hard for this concert during the year because we were trying to build this during the year concert series. And we get to the night of the performance. We've had it everywhere. We're, talking to Khaki on, checking on the arts. So we're on WKNO. We had done everything that we thought we could do to get people to come to this concert. And so we gave this beautiful concert for a house of around 10 people. And it was probably the most demoralized I'd ever been as a musician and as an administrator, because we had just worked so hard. And we started to think, like, maybe this thing, there's parts of this that don't have the kind of value that we think it has. And so it was this moment where, we started to think, well, maybe we should just stop. Maybe there's another place and other value for this organization, maybe outside of this. Maybe we as individuals can do our own things, and maybe we join other organizations. So we started to think about, like, what are the ways in which we disband this thing? And this is where I'll get misty, because I will never forget this day. This is like one of the most pivotal days in my entire career. 2 days later, we go to our mailbox. We had a P.O. box, and inside that P.O. box is a check for $10,000. There was a patron who was there that day, and she told us, what you're doing matters, and you need some help. Let me help you. And so that moment for me it changed everything. Because not only did we have someone who believed in us, but someone who believed in us enough to support us, enough to give us a gift. And that gift unlocked everything from that day. And so this day where we're here and Prizm has a fundraiser trying to raise these resources, I think that, we talk about money and making a gift and giving to somewhere, but that was a moment where it wasn't a money, it was a key. It actually unlocked a door for us, that gift, that it became this thing that you all are seeing probably at the time, maybe 15 years later. And so tonight, as you're being asked to make gifts, think about what are the ways in which you want to be one of the keys for an organization like this one, and not an organization like this one, but for this one. Specifically, and today, for this one. And so I offer that as a part of our story where, we talk about how we ascend, but you don't always talk about the things that are hard along the way. And this was a moment that we were just, we felt like we were running out of gas, and someone just came along and said, wait a minute, I think your thing has some value, and I'm willing to be your partner in realizing that value. And so when you're giving money to places, that's what you're doing. It's not only about the money, it's about you saying, I want to be part of what you're doing. I want to be part of unlocking a door for you. So this next piece that we're going to play is by another black composer. His name is Gary Powell Nash. Gary Nash, he was a composition professor at Fisk. And, full disclosure, there's not that many black classical musicians around, especially back then. So he was like, hey, brother, you live in Tennessee. I actually wrote a piece for bassoon and piano. He called his D Formation 5. He wrote several D formations, but the fifth one he wrote for bassoon. And so I actually got to know Gary quite well. He even came to Memphis several times to hear me perform the work. He wrote another work for bassoon and strings for me that we premiered at one of our Prizm festivals. And I will tell you more about that after this piece and the work that we were doing, how we kind of translated the things that we were thinking about. How did we start to translate them into a formula for what the Prizm Festival and the Prizm organization was moving forward? I talk a lot. So we have this thing that it can keep on going, and we're really excited about the fact that it can keep going. But we were still during that time playing a lot of music from the Western classical tradition, and we were noticing that the students who were coming to our program, many of them were students who were students of means and who could afford to pay the tuition for the program. And so we started to be like, well, if the thing that we're solving for is this access thing, then we've got to figure out some kind of way to make sure that we are providing this access. From that thinking came what we call the Prizm in the Schools program. Some of you may be familiar with it. Some of you may have been former students in that program. And that was where we went into schools and we worked with the school for about 5 months. And then at the end of that, from every school we worked in for that 5-month period, we would provide 5 scholarships for young people to then come to the summer program. And so as we started doing that work, we started to realize, okay, now we're starting to mitigate what most people would refer to as this access and transportation barrier. We're even going so far as to a lot of our parents, and it's such a beautiful time, a lot of parents and families, they would go and pick up students from various places. Okay, I live in Cordova, this kid's place is on my way, so I'll pick them up coming in while I'm dropping my kid off. And so there became this whole community around people ensuring that these young people could make their way to, even my family picked up a student coming out of Bartlett, just to make sure that the folks could get here. And then we got here, and then we were playing this traditional Western classical music with these dead white European composers. Nothing against dead white or Europeans. And so we started thinking, well, how do we find ways to diversify the music that we're playing? So that was when we started to play more music by composers of color and by women composers. And then we started thinking about who are the musicians that we're bringing into this. So we started thinking about, well, we want to make sure there's this saying that you can't be what you can't see. right? And so we're like, well, how are we giving young people an opportunity to see, world-class, classical musicians of color playing this repertoire? And so this was this big moment for us as we started to then build this program and build this organization out into becoming this amazing thing that many of you know and love today. But it was all rooted in this idea of something that I think about all the time: what are we solving for? Not what do we do, but what are we solving for? And so in that work, as we thought about what we were solving for, we started to build programs and build opportunities that matched the thing that we were solving for. The next work we're playing, perfectly, the next work that we're playing is a piece by a black composer. His name is William Grant Still. He was for many people who know black composers, he was one of the first major black composers in America. He was the first black person to conduct a major symphony. He was also the first black American to have a work performed by a major symphony. It was called his Afro-American Symphony. He did both of those with the Rochester Philharmonic. He wrote these two beautiful songs that, for me, they sound similar to the music that I grew up listening to in my Motown family. And for those of you who are locals, my family was a Motown family. I'm sorry, I love Stax, but I love Stax too, but my family was a Motown family and a blues family. So, but we'll play two pieces and two songs, If You Should Go and Buy You Home. So the last story that I'll tell for you all tonight, before we move into our last couple of works here, is a story from my last year with Prizm Ensemble. The last year was a pretty spectacular year for us. We did some amazing things during that year. We did this great partnership with Opera Memphis, where the managing director of Opera Memphis, he and I sat and we had multiple lunches where I was talking to him about the value of having people of color on stage and what that would mean for a city like Memphis, and being really thoughtful about that, you know. And he was like, okay, on some level, he was like, let's try something out. That year they did a performance of Marriage of Figaro. And he asked me to put together an orchestra that was a lot of several people of color, predominantly black, something that a group of musicians in the orchestra that matched the demographics of Memphis, which is predominantly black, so 70% of our musicians were the same. And then he said, and I'll agree to do the same thing with the singers that we're bringing onto the opera stage. What ended up happening in that amazing partnership was 2 sold-out performances for Marriage of Figaro for Opera Memphis. Because, you know, again, it's another one of these moments where it starts to become clear that the artist and the art are connected to each other, and both of them are a draw, and not just the artist in stature, but the identity of that person, how that identity matches the identities of people who are having an opportunity to come to these places. So that was a big one, but my final act here as my final act as executive director of Prizm was at Claiborne Temple. Many of you are familiar with Claiborne Temple, and I heard, I don't live here anymore, but I heard about what happened to that temple. Well, we wanted to have a Juneteenth concert in Claiborne Temple. We had a wonderful benefactor. I did not ask permission to mention them by name, but he is here tonight. He and I met multiple times to talk about this particular project. He agreed to fund this project for us so that we could try something out. It was this amazing moment where we had, there was a photographer, a civil rights photographer named Ernest Withers. We had images of his around the place. We had this black orchestra. We had a choir that came in and sang, and then we also were playing this work called The 7 Last Words of the Unarmed. If you're not familiar with this work, it's a work written by a black male composer who was trying to find a way to memorialize these black men who had been murdered by the police. So each one of the movements of this work was a different black man. And it was this beautiful moment where not only were we playing this work by his black composer, but then we also performed Mozart's Symphonia Concertante. And so we were trying to show that, you know, this idea of separating things and pulling them apart is actually anathema to what I think the artists want and what our community and what our society needs. The idea is to bring them together. So, and the thinking was, if you just wanted to come hear Mozart, you heard a beautiful Mozart that night. And so if that's all you wanted to do, you won. But if you came and you wanted to be part of a social justice movement in this city, you also had an opportunity to do that, and those 2 things can actually live together. And so that was this beautiful final moment. It was sold out. It was for those of you who were there, I think a lot of you who were here were at that performance. I see you nodding your heads. It was a beautiful moment, and for me, it felt like, as a person who was leaving, who really kind of produced that particular performance, it felt like a beautiful way for me to leave my final gift. Now I'm going to cry. My final gift to this city that I loved. So it wasn't that I did not love this city. I love this city. My children were born here. So there's nothing like a love you'll have than love you have for the city your children were born in. So I absolutely loved this city. And so for me to have that as my final gift to Memphis was beautiful for me. And I think of it often. And I think of this city and this organization often as well. And we have 2 more works. I won't speak before the last one, and thank you all. For those of you who have not made a gift yet, please remember to make a gift to Prizm. Do so tonight. Don't go home. Do it while you're here. You're going to go home and you're going to forget. So before you leave, make sure that you make a gift to Prizm Ensemble, and maybe think about someone who you care about, for whom the things I said tonight, for whom this organization, what it is and what it stands for. Think of someone for whom that matters to you. Make a gift in their honor. Do this on their behalf, because this organization is really beautiful. The next work we're going to play is by a dead German. Hi, Vera. Also German. It's beautiful work for bassoon and string trio with my colleagues here. So enjoy this Andante and Hungarian Rondo by Carl Maria von Weber. What I love is that the students who were at Prizm during my years here at the summer festival, they're watching me tear up and they're like, yeah, well, there he goes. There he goes. It's like, you know, so don't even worry about it. He does it every year. You know. What's that? Yeah. Did you hear about that? It's really fun up here.
Just because it feels so awkward not to have more clapping. I love coming to chamber shows because chamber music trains you to hear the whole piece, right? It trains you to hear the first movement, the second, the third, the fourth. And then you unleash these emotions and you applaud and stand and yell bravo. So I was at something recently where they played several individual pop songs by Fleetwood Mac. And we were all so trained to wait till they did that. And the musicians were kind of freaked out a little bit because they were expecting when you play one Fleetwood Mac song that you know and you tap your toes that you would clap. So they were kind of, okay, and they got rearranged and counted off, and they played 7 in a row. 7 of these songs in a row. And then they finished, and the audience trained, gave it to them, and it was great. But it's just so funny. So I just wanted the applause to break up the silence. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. My name is Mark Willis, and I get to be the third person that reinforces the idea that this is a fundraiser tonight, meaning we're raising funds for the program. But when Gavin asked me to do it, which I wasn't gung-ho to do, he said, well, talk about Dylan. And I said, okay, well, that's fun. So my son is a Prizm alum, and I'm going to connect this to what he does now for a living. He works for Sony, and he calculates distributions of royalties. And so my son is up here on the panels, which we've seen no name, likeness, or image money from. But we continue to use him. And he's the one with the curly top there next to Gerald, and they're using him twice. And when I walked in here, I was like, so I sent him a picture tonight, and he said, give. And he's an alum, and he loves music. But when he started out in this, it was important to us and how it all came to pass. He's a viola player. And his teacher said, oh, you ought to go to the Prizm camp. We weren't that familiar with it. And okay, we look at it. We encourage and require summer programming for the kids. So he came to Prizm's camp. And when we come in and see what's happening and, see the taglines and, I'm the guy that I'm going to Google the organization. I'm going to go to the website and all like that. And they're talking about all this diversity. So if you look at him, you may say, oh, he's a decent-looking kid, but he looks, I don't know. So my son was born with diversity in him. Let that sink in. He was born with diversity in him. And so as a parent, these things are very important. Of course, as Lecolion said, we want him to see himself in the things he may aspire to be or to do. So we come to this whole camp that's about this and about music. Okay. So we come, and I'll get very excited because the first week, I don't remember back then if it was a 2-week thing or 1-week thing, but whatever it was, I came to everything they did, and I was exhausted because there was something every night. But we would drive home, and he was just as thrilled as he could be. He was very excited. And we never broke it down at that point. We've talked about it since, but when he was participating, we never broke down all this diversity and all that. You're just kids, being kids, but having fun. But it works. And so this place is absolutely worth supporting. You're here because of great music. And the educational component does 2 things. And I learned this from a professor many, many, many years ago. You offer the music and the arts to everybody. You'll get some percentage of ones who want to pursue it, and that's great. They need support. You support them. They're on to their... But the other bigger chunk become appreciators. And this is the cycle that we're trying to build here. It keeps spinning. You're here. Maybe some of you used to play. Some of you may be in community bands now. Some of you may be professional. But it continues the cycle. So we pour into the young people to get to this, right? And then we're here enjoying it tonight. So the third time's the charm. When my kids were growing up, we used to say, you got to ask for things 3 times. The first time's easy. Hey, Dad, I want to switch to drums. This is what Dylan said to me. No, you don't. You heard something very cool. You loved the riff. Your head started bobbing. Your toes started tapping. I get it. That's what drums do. You know, so you ask again. So I'm not sure the second time ever came, but that one's a little easier, but you show a little bit of commitment. The third one, after you've said no, 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 that third one comes. So this is the third time. Support us tonight. Support us tomorrow again. Like, it doesn't have to be a one-off. And the message I want to leave like a Baptist pastor is the simple boil down to is get the word out. Tell someone else to give to us. Tell someone else to support us, right? And we can keep doing what we're doing. We'll bring Lecolion back in 20 more years and some other folks in the middle of that. And we'll keep doing this, and we'll have even more alums, you know, coming out and listening to and being inspired by the program that got them going. So I want to echo that we appreciate you being here. And I don't know if you were tracking what Lecolion said, but I'm going to throw this out, and as we say, I'll take my seat. But he said that he did a concert. Let this go. He did a concert where 10 people were there, and a tenth of those people wrote a check for $10,000. Did y'all catch that? I couldn't have been the only one that caught that. I'm going to say it again. 10 people came, but a tenth of the people wrote a check for TK. That's awesome. Thank you for being here.
You ready to play, baby? We're ready. Oh, yeah. You got it, man?
Oh, I got it.
Whenever you're ready.
One more thing before I go. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. This is a great show. Love me some Memphis. You know I'm from here. It's not me. It's not me. It's you. Here you go, baby. Here you go, baby. That's for you, baby. That's for you. Thank you.
I guarantee you can't see that anywhere else in Memphis tonight. Okay, it's been an amazing evening with Lecolion Washington and the All-Stars. Give it up for the All-Stars, ladies and gentlemen. What an amazing job. What an amazing job they all did. They came together and they just made beautiful music. And that, that's really one of the perks of chamber music, right? You come together and you can make beautiful art. And there's no conductor, minus Elvis sometimes. But, I think it's really great just to see musicians doing what they do and being supported. I mean, they're compensated for this. This is not free, okay? But it is just really great to have them coming and helping the organization to raise critical funds. I want to see all of you in the fellowship hall for a reception, okay? Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Hey guys, thanks so much for coming. Yeah.